we're a springboard to efficiency and insight for private market investors.
Hey everyone, I'm Kayla Jacoby and I'm part of the marketing team here at Mercatus. Today I'm joined by our VP of Global Customer Success, Tom Boat. Tom, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Tom, so could you tell me a little bit about what Mercatus does, who we are, and why we're different?
Sure. Why don't I start with what Mercatus is, the first part of your question. So, Mercatus is a modern data management platform for private market investors. And, Kaylee, we often hear, great, those sound kind of buzzwordy-ish. What does modern actually mean? So I'll cover that for just a moment. Modern to me means really two basic things. Do you have a platform that is future-proof with its architecture? Meaning, does it allow you to actually expand into different business needs as you grow? Because that's inevitable. And number two, do you have a user experience that is strong? And consider that we're in a very mobile world where people get a gratification from an app in less than 5 seconds. You have to have something that matches that in the corporate environment as well. So that's what modern really means to me. And a simple example of this, to just put it in the private market space, is clients often ask me, does this calculate an IRR? Do you have that built in as a feature? And my answer is usually no. It calculates anything you need it to. We didn't just build this to calculate an IRR. We built this to enable you to set up any calculation that you need, because you're going to need more than IRR. You're going to need a variety of those. And so that's just a simple example of the value of putting in architecture into place and also a user friendliness in place for business users.
Thanks for that, Tom. So put it in layman terms for me. If you just met someone at a networking event, what would you say?
Yeah, I love that question, Kaylee, because there's what you project about the company, but then there's the reality of saying it. Really simply, I would say, well, we're a springboard to efficiency and insight for private market investors. And my simple analogy to this is, think about Salesforce.com in the 90s. No sales team had a budget for a CRM. Most of them didn't know what a CRM was. Mm-hmm. Now, it's one of the first things that a sales manager or a sales leader would be budgeting for. We're making data management an essential business objective with a budget.
Great. I love that analogy. Tell me a little bit about why it's different.
Well, we're different in a couple of very key ways. So number one, flexibility. And I love saying it because it's true. I hate saying it because it's also a buzzword. But flexibility is really critical, and I'll take this in a couple of directions. First, flexibility is a depth and a breadth. A depth meaning, can this go across the entire investment lifecycle? Meaning, can I manage an origination business? Can I manage an asset business? Can I manage a fund or investor business or an ESG business? Number two is a breadth. Can this go across funds, holding companies, assets? Can it go down to the site level if I have a physical asset in place? Can it go down to a site level if I'm at a real estate asset? So there's a depth and a breadth to that. And then if you take that as a cube and you come out and you say, well, I actually also need to go across asset classes. Can this do infrastructure because we invest in that? Can it do real estate because we invest in that? Can we do private equity because we invest in that? So flexibility is each of those things. And then, is it flexible enough to manage all the different data sets and types that come from those? So we're extremely flexible to do each of those. And that's usually what we spend a lot of the time showing. Number two is a flexibility around getting data to and from a very, very critical item, which is Excel. Most of these businesses harness Excel heavily. And they don't do it because it's an outdated, poor product. They do it because it's a very good analysis product, and you need that for bespoke assets. There's a complexity to each of them. Well, we harness what Excel does poorly, which is collaboration and consolidation of data. So Mercatus connects to Excel in a very unique way that actually allows us to run scenarios across an entire portfolio of assets for an entire fund. And just a really simple analogy, we looked at this with one client. For a 50 asset portfolio, they just wanted to vary interest rates and discount rates. What was the impact? That exercise across a 50 asset portfolio took over 10 people and a total of about 4 weeks to turn around the results. You can set that up in Mercatus to where that can be run in about an hour or two in total. So the impact is how much faster you get that. That's our third differentiator, by the way, speed. And this happens really because of the things I highlighted above. Flexibility enables us to be extremely fast in implementation. We typically get an implementation done in less than 90 days, which is incredibly fast for this business, especially with what we're solving for. Mm-hmm. It also allows us to be very fast post-implementation. So when a client wants to expand to a new sector or a new business line, they can do that quickly in Mercatus. They also have the ability to do it on their own. And a really simple example of that is we asked one of our clients, they gave us a new report to build, and we turned that around in about a day or two. And they were astonished by that. And we said, that's interesting. Why? They said, the last vendor we worked with, this was a 4 to 6 week process. And they charged us between $10,000 and $15,000 to ultimately do it. So that's a real simple anecdote of where flexibility and speed actually make a difference. And that's where we're focusing on with all of our product development.
Wow, that definitely sounds like innovation that is unmatched. Thanks so much, Tom, for that today. I love the way you described speed and flexibility. For anyone that's looking to learn more about Mercatus, you can head to our website at www.gomercatus.com. Thanks so much, Tom.
Thanks, Kaylee.